Welcome to Heather Ewing, the CRE Rundown. Today, I am happy to have Lorna Mueller with me today. She's the owner-broker of TRC in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Welcome, Lorna.
Thank you, Heather. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So as we get going here, if you could share with our viewers, tell us a little bit more about you.
I run a boutique real estate commercial real estate brokerage. We specialize in multifamily. That's what I'm mostly known for, but we also do residential, which makes us a little unique to most of the commercial industry. Because if you talk to some of the big guys, they don't even consider multifamily to be commercial real estate, but it really is. And it's been a very good sector for me to work within. We also do land and retail, mixed use, industrial. So we do cover the other sectors as well, but we're really known for the multifamily. I work with two wonderful ladies, just incredible ladies. They just keep me on track and help me through life and through work, which is terrific. And we also have 5 other agents that kind of come in and out of the office. Basically, our office is, since COVID, has been pretty quiet, and it really hasn't picked up since. But they stop in and they do a blend of commercial real estate and residential as well. So total, there's about 8, 9 of us. It changes. My husband just retired from the industry, and he still does a lot of the behind the scenes work. But for the most part, it's Molly, Elizabeth, and myself that drive this ship, or to steer the ship. So
that's terrific. And I know, with my background in retail, restaurants, things of that nature, but I think as you speak to anyone in the commercial real estate realm, you hear a lot about the challenges of staffing and things of that nature. What would you say has been really beneficial and your key to success in not only bringing in great staff, support staff and agents, but also in retaining them?
We kind of run a different operation here. It's a lot of nepotism, if you would. Fred was one of my first agents, and his daughter Elizabeth came to join us. She was a mother of 2, and now she's just a single mother of 2. Does hair on 1 day a week, and then she works with me. But it was just a natural transition to be in, to work with me. And my niece, Molly, is my number one go-to. And again, she's my niece. And I just knew that she had it in her and that she was able to do it. And it's been a tremendous fit for the last 5 years. And so I was fortunate. And I don't actively look for people to join our teams or to become an agent, because
right.
we're pretty happy with our group as it is. But we do have other people that come in that see what we're doing and just would like to be a part of it as well. So we welcome everyone, but purposely going out to look for somebody, not so much.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
And so with that, you've really cultivated a great environment and atmosphere. And I know everything that you do really is top notch. What would you say got you into the arena of commercial real estate? What was the allure or the impetus behind it?
Early on, I started in residential real estate when my husband was on the road and I had 2 small children. And I thought, what a fun way to do it. I've always had an interest in real estate, loved going through open houses, the same reasons why everybody gets into it initially. And found that residential wasn't for me. So when I went back to work after the kids, I went into the corporate world. And the corporate world was great, but there are a lot of glass ceilings everywhere. So after I was going to leave the one job I had, worked that while I was starting up starting up the company, had a partner, since then has stopped the partnership, if you would, or we terminated that partnership, and I've been on my own since 2004 and love every minute of it.
Right.
Just really do love the fact that I had a really good mentor initially, and he still is mentoring people, and that really helped me get my feet in, my feet wet, if you would, and develop some great clients. And it's just been terrific. It's just been a
I
really,
love that.
really run.
That's great. And I know I'm a few years in for having my firm, but what would you say, 2004, you've weathered the crazy storms of 2007, 8, and then of course more recently the COVID, right, which I almost shudder to say, but
Yeah.
it exists. What do you attribute your resilience to?
I think a lot of it is attitude on our part. Sometimes you just have to tune out all of the naysayers and everybody who is saying that, the world is falling, the sky is falling, that type of thing. You really have to
Yeah.
create your own atmosphere that you're going to work within. So I think attitude is number one, developing client relationships so that they can carry you through the hard times.
Yeah.
We're standing after 2011, right? Which is
Right.
great. And now after COVID wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. You just find different ways to work around it. But I think if I had to pinpoint one thing that keeps us going through all of these ebbs and flows, because right now we're going through another ebb in the industry with
Right.
financing and interest rates and lack of product. It's attitude. It's attitude. Just asking the right questions. How can we get around this? How can we do better for our clients? And that always seems to help us maintain.
I agree. And I think to your point, it's the key to longevity. And I think also from a satisfaction standpoint too, when you are in service of others and solving problems for them, which then helps them to generate additional wealth for their family, more goes out into the community, different causes you believe in. I couldn't agree more, Lorna. It's really mindset. And that's why, to me, I think to get into commercial real estate and then to thrive in it, it's all mindset. And I think anyone that I would anticipate as the years go and the more deals, the more experiences, relationships, that you just keep refining that mindset where you look back 5 years ago and almost kind of, chuckle of how much you've grown. Would you say it's one of those, it's a lifetime mindset of continual growth and expansion?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's always asking yourself, what else can I do for them? Because it's the more you do for them, the more it comes back to you as well.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's nothing more rewarding than getting somebody into a great property that's very successful for them. They come back to you and want to work with you more, which is really that wheel that you just really try to keep going. And you're right. When you're passionate about what you're doing, they can feel it, and then it comes back to you. And that works for everything, whether it be work or community service or family. It all pretty much holds true.
Right. And I think one of the other facets of commercial real estate that I really value is the time freedom. And I joke that I've worked really hard to be this busy, but at the same time, I think it's having the discipline and the commitment, knowing that you might take off on a certain day or take a vacation, but then having the discipline and the commitment to follow through on when you say you're going to work on things, when you're going to bring them across the finish line, that makes all the difference. I mean, if I were to look at who I was when I started in commercial to where I'm at now, I am very much more disciplined and committed in that sense. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I work really hard at being lucky at what I do. I mean, you really have to put in the time. You really do.
Yep.
One of my appraisers that I work a lot with, and he's also a client of mine, he always says, Lorna, you're the hardest working person out there. And I said, I don't know how you can say that. I said, all I'm doing is just trying to stay above, keep my head above water, if you would. But it really is. You do need to be disciplined. to sit down, make your calls, to sit down and plan, to have a plan going forward. And all of that takes energy, effort, and you have to you have to persevere through it. It's the setbacks are. Yeah, the setbacks are many in real estate, right? I mean, you're only as good as your last sale, so you really have to have a mindset where you say, "All right, the successes, let's celebrate, but the not so successful deals, let's learn something from it and then move forward and refine that, do better."
I agree completely. It's resourcefulness is a great attribute in our arena. And I think too of, especially in the earlier days for myself, of learning about the zoning, the conditional uses, the liquor permits, the reserve license, patios, all of those different little variables that really do contribute and allow you to provide a higher level of service for clients, which is what it's all about. And that's where I see it too, as a performance sport almost, if you would say. And what I mean by that is we keep upgrading our knowledge, our value that we can contribute to our clients and these different operators. And it's a zest for learning. And I think that's also something I've really noticed over the years in a lot of successful brokers, firms, things of that nature, is that zest for learning.
Absolutely. There's always something to learn. I mean, if you ask anybody in this industry, they'll tell you there's not two deals that are the same. Every deal is unique, and you can take away something from everything or from every deal and know where you need to get a little sharper on things or what you need to bring to the table. Right now in the industry, like I mentioned, financing is so difficult. It's gotten very tight and the rates have gotten very high compared to what we had like just a year ago. They were 2 points higher than that already. So we're trying to find new ways to work with a 1031, maybe some seller financing, bringing some new ideas to the table so we can get things trading again because it's so stagnant right now.
Yeah. So along those lines, right? It's stressful, it's exciting, it's rewarding, but stressful. What are some ways that you find really nice to de-stress or that, help you out of that space?
I'm a big proponent of success lunches. So whenever we have a big closing or a successful seminar that we've put on, we all go to lunch and just celebrate and just put it all down, which is probably it's a half day affair. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. But I also, for de-stress on a daily basis, I walk my dog twice a day. He's probably the most fit dog in the entire world. I swear to God. But it's my time. In the morning, I listen to inspirational books when I'm walking him. And then in the afternoon, I try to pay attention to him or listen to a fun book. So it's his time, my time, and it just helps us come back and get ready for to be a part of the family.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And you know me, I'm the marathon runner, so I love getting out in nature for my runs. But I agree too. It's nice to listen to books, to podcasts. Years ago, it was only music, the techno music and things. But it is a nice way, I think, to connect with ourselves. And I'd be curious too. I know sometimes when I'm out for these different runs of kind of looking at different deals and different clients and opportunities that we're working on from a bird's eye view, and what is maybe a strategic play or an initiative that we can take to maybe get the deal across the line quicker or to save them time, money, otherwise. And two, just seeing the seasons here in Wisconsin. It's nice to have a graduated experience as we get into winter and through.
It's true. I have found that with my walking in the morning, especially, it seems in the morning, I'm of course a lot fresher. I will always think of myself as a matchmaker, if you would. I truly broker deals. I bring buyers and sellers together. I rarely use the internet or the the other platforms that are available to actually sell something. It's usually done in-house. And it's amazing. I'll be walking and I'm like, why didn't I ever think of, client A for client B's property? Oh my God, this is perfect. And
Right.
you get back, you can't wait to get back to work and put it together at that point. So it is inspiring. It gives you a chance to take all that noise and tap that down and bring yourself forward. It's really good.
Right. And that's where, too, I've likened it to putting a puzzle together.
Oh, perfect.
Knowing the different people, the different qualities or attributes that are important to them in a property, if it's a long hold, short, if they're looking for land. Right. So it is pulling from these different areas. And to your point, as you establish these relationships and get to know people further, and I think, too, that people will always have a few points that they feel are their motivations, but that's where, too, it's kind of reading below the lines, too, of you hear the words and sometimes you just have that feeling that there's something more, right? And it's through those conversations, looking at different opportunities, that sometimes you really get to the heart of the matter and what their truest motivation is for something.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So very true.
So, yeah. So this is the big question. If you were to go back in a time machine, let's say 5, 10, 20 years, to whichever period of life that pops up for you, what is a message you would share with your younger self?
Right now, I'm thinking more passive income for myself. And I wish I would have thought of that a little sooner in my career and created a little bit more passive income for myself. We work with such large amounts, it's easy just to let everything kind of wash over you and not really jump into the arena yourself. Mm-hmm. And so my younger self, I would have said, just take whatever kind of parts of your commission, set it aside for investments, and then do your own investments too. I used to always tell all my clients that I'm not going to compete with you. I'm out here to sell the best deals, the worst deals, the in-between deals. They're all going to be presented to you because I'm not going to cherry pick. Yeah. But I have since then kind of changed it up a little bit, done more partnering with some investors and just trying to create a really nice residual income. So looking, I guess, bottom line on that one would be take a look forward, for yourself and to make sure that you're secure and put together there. And I wish I would have learned that sooner, like 10 years ago. And I think that that would have been one piece of advice I would have given myself. The other one is, network. Just go and network. Sometimes you think you have more than you can handle on your plate, but it never fails that one person that you talk to opens up so many other doors for you and opportunities to be successful. And so I think that would be the other thing I would say. And love big.
Right. No, I agree. And it's kind of neat because that's how we met each other, through a networking luncheon.
Yes.
And I made the drive to Milwaukee, which, the irony is Milwaukee and Madison are so close, but how frequently do we get back and forth? Right. So that's really where, right. And that's where, too, I have been focusing on making those drives more frequently because it really is close. And to your point, that I think even though we have busy schedules, that as we do add in more activities that are, if you want to say, life-giving for us, that we do experience that growth. And I think because they are rewarding on a different level as well, that the time just seems to expand for us, which is nice. And that is something that I think is really neat.
I think so. It's developing yourself on a daily basis because it's not just one and done, right?
Right.
We're constantly working and evolving, and you've got to find those new ways to make it interesting to evolve, because it can get pretty stale at times if you don't look for a new opportunity.
Yep. And I think that's where too, pulling in from the beginning of our conversation of knowing our why is really important too, because you hear deal fatigue and it can be challenging when you're cold calling, canvassing. It's something I still do, but in the early days, it's something everyone has to do.
Right.
And it can be tiring. It's very removed from a relationship, if you want to say, because it's a numbers game. But I, like yourself, it's really nice to have that book of business, cultivate the relationships and the different referrals that come from that.
Right. But you probably know, oops, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I was going to say, touching on too about investing early, I didn't get into commercial real estate until I was 40. So I joke that I was a late bloomer, but I did arrive 9 years ago. And it is a beautiful way to balance all of the deals, because I say the deals are kind of like you're in Vegas. They can be fully there, like it's going to go through, and the next minute it may not. Things can and do happen and shift. And so to your point with those different investments, it helps to balance it. And I think for me, as I look back, it was one of those, I didn't realize the gold mine that I had, and that was the market knowledge, all the leases that I had completed. And as time passes, then you realize of like, this is a crucial part of the investment structure outside of the money. And right. So I agree fully that it's neat to have those awarenesses and then really grab the bull by the horn and go.
Yes, I agree. One of my clients, he has a mentor heart, and it was so sweet because he's like, all right, Lorna, when we do this deal, he says, leave part of your commissions behind and become an investor with me. And that was really eye-opening. I never thought that they would allow you to do that, but it's very common practice for somebody in the industry just starting out. You know, if you don't need every penny there, leave some behind and become an investor with them. It only strengthens that relationship, but it also strengthens your passive income as well.
Definitely. And I think too, there's a lot of people that they worked hard to attain the level and status they've acquired. And there's a lot of good hearts in commercial real estate that do pay it forward, like that example, right. And that are willing to, split the ownership, bring someone in, through a percent of commission or other means and help them learn. And I think people are willing to do that when they see that, such as yourself back then, of you had a positive mindset, you were showing and delivering on what you said you would do. You were a good student for right. That mentor, and that's a winning relationship.
Right. Showing up for the job. That's really what it is. Yeah. So today's real estate is becoming so impersonal because you can do most every deal almost without even meeting the person, if you would. So it's really difficult I think today it's going to be a little bit more difficult for people getting into the industry to really develop those relationships because you really do need to sit down. You need to see them eye to eye. You really do need to, break bread with them, if you would, to really get to know them. And to your point, to hear what they're actually saying, because that means, they give you so many clues about what they're looking at or what they want to do and where they're going and what they really are, their preferences are. So today's going to be that. I think that's going to be a big challenge going forward for most people coming into this industry, is to really make it personal.
Definitely. And I agree. It's, you hear about people I hear the question frequently, are you concerned about AI coming in and, and everything just being removed from the personal touch? And for what we deal in the dollar amounts, I don't see that being an issue. I mean, because it really is the personal touch. And I think too, especially after COVID, people realize more than ever the importance of being in person, especially when it is such a large investment. I
hope so. I hope AI doesn't change our industry. So to the point where it does become impersonal, but
Right.
definitely something to work for or work toward.
So now, as you look to the future, Lorna, what do you anticipate for your firm? What are you noticing trends or something along those lines of what you anticipate future forward?
Future forward for us here at the boutique, at TRC, just getting Molly and Elizabeth into more of a forward role for me. And it's amazing because you started the industry 9 years ago. I started back a few years earlier than that. But being a woman in this industry, there were a lot of doors that were closed and a lot of people that weren't too open to be working, with a woman and to putting the trust and the trust into me like I was hoping to get. So I'm starting to see all that wash away slowly but surely. And so I'm thinking that our industry will become more diverse going forward, which I think is good. It's going to be a little bit more inclusive for everybody to actually be able to come in and to show who they are and to produce the way they would like to produce. So that's my thought of the vision, or that would be my vision going forward too for the commercial real estate.
And I agree with your vision too. And I think, again, I don't have as many years of experience in it, but the interesting thing is I was always in arenas that were primarily men, and I was like one of a handful of women. And I frequently joke that since I was raised by my father, maybe that's why I always excelled in that arena. But I think too, something that helped me was an early adoption of sports. And I have always loved sports, being the competitor in the sports, if you want to say, not as big on watching, but I noticed that bridged a gap, and also it garnered respect, because it seems like if you were successful in something, that then it was the camaraderie was right there, and it was almost as if the sexes didn't exist, right? And so I think in commercial real estate, I really see it as a performance sport in the sense of there's a starting line, everyone starts on it, and it's who delivers, and how well you deliver determines your success. And I think I probably have that lens also, since I have my own firm, you have your own firm, where, we do call the shots, and the environment is tailored, right? So I'm sure it's different in each scenario, but I know that is something I have been very grateful for. And I don't lose sight on that.
That's great. That's great. I actually enjoy working with 90% men, more so than if it were to be reversed. I think it's a lot of fun from my point of view. I don't, and I hope they glean some different attitudes or different things from me as well. But I really do enjoy that a lot too. And it's a great way to think about the deals is a performance. Everyone's at the starter line, and who gets to the finish line. That's really, I like that thought pattern. I will have to use that more.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And similar to you, my mentors have been men too, and I'm very appreciative and good people. And that's where too, I think people get hung up on the sexes too much. And it's almost, I see it as men have feminine, masculine energy, and women have feminine and masculine. And it's interesting because sometimes some women are more masculine than men and vice versa.
Really true.
Again, as I shared, it's really the performance that I think makes or break people in any arena.
Right.
So
do you think confidence plays a part in that as well?
Definitely mindset and confidence. When I look back over my trajectory, I was in karate, and that really was one of the best, I say, self-improvement courses I could have signed up for. It was that. And then additionally, I would say Toastmasters had a really positive impact on my life as well.
That's great to hear.
Definitely, because what's interesting too is I was in a life-altering car accident many years ago. And what I learned from that is life's obstacles can either take you out and you'll be miserable, or through mindset and choosing, they can really give you wings. And so that's where, for me, of kind of stepping into the fire of things that really scared the snot out of me. But after that, I didn't feel contained, and it gives you a certain freedom. And I think as you rinse and repeat that over the years, which I know just since you're a successful person as well, that you have a lot of those experiences, that I think it's easy for people to almost lose sight of it. But I think there's a certain feeling that people understand when you're comfortable in your skin and that you believe in yourself, and knowing that you don't have all the answers, but through your relationships, resources, and I think really having the mindset of helping people become their best, that people just know and feel that.
They do. They really do. It's it's something that when you have a setback, you have to use every emotion, every bit of energy that it gives you, and really strive to make it better. You really do. So many times you see somebody have a deal go badly and they're moping around for days on end. It's like, okay, give yourself some time to feel sorry for yourself, but then take a look at what happened and try to build on that, or ask better questions of yourself and how you can go forward. And that'll really help you. And you're right. Once you achieve it, it feels so good. You're just flying. It just opens you up to other things. And we have a saying around our office, like, if you're feeling too complacent, we got to change it. Let's shake it up and do something different, because that's how you stay on your toes too.
Exactly. And I think it's just that zest for learning, for expansion. And again, like crossing that finish line, just knowing that you did everything you could, taking the wins, the losses, learning, and just continuing with that forward momentum.
That's right. Sometimes you got to dig really deep for it to keep that momentum going forward. But you're so proud of yourself when you're through and you actually do finish. It's good. It's a rewarding feeling.
Completely agree. So as we wrap up, Lorna, what is something that, maybe a question I haven't asked you, or something that you want to share with our guests before we finish this off?
Just to live to your fullest. One of your questions is like, how do you live fully? And I really think for me, it's learning within work. It's playing hard, just playing and loving. You never know when somebody's going to get snatched right away from you. And you don't want to have those regrets. So you really do want to live to the fullest and to love everyone around you as much as you can love them, because it can disappear so quickly.
Yeah, I would say that's perfectly stated. Yeah. So thank you again for having this conversation with me, for enlightening our guests. And how can they reach you? So as they have the multifamily land and the various offerings, how can they get your assistance?
Basically the best way to reach me is through my email, which is lorna@therealtycompanyllc.com. And I can certainly send you my contact information, but would love to have them call, to contact me. Love to share what projects I have available, what's going on, whatever knowledge I can help them with. I mean, I'm happy to help out any way I can.
Excellent. And I will include your information at the end of this podcast. So thank you again, Lorna. And when I'm in Milwaukee, I will definitely reach out and we'll grab lunch.
Absolutely. Look forward to it, Heather. Thank you so much for all your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And everyone, until next week, here's to living fully. Thanks.